Hi Geminis, and welcome to your July 2019 Astrology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us where you guys got some extra cards that came up there. Then we also have two oracle cards that we'll take a look at after we get to the main spread to help tie everything together, and also a mudra card. And also, before I forget, for those of you who are interested in booking a personal reading with me, following me on Instagram, or donating to the channel, please check out the description of the video for all the info on that. But let's get started with the main spread. In the position of the main situation, you guys got the star card. So this is fellow air energy. Now this is actually the major arcana card for Aquarius. So, this could just represent maybe you dealing with some long distance travel, possibly, since Aquarius is your ninth house. It could also be dealing with humanitarian issues, since the natural house that Aquarius rules is 11th house. And maybe you guys are actually looking into those matters, especially because the ruler of your 11th house is Mars, and actually, well, I should say Aries, and then Mars will actually be in your third house. So you guys are the natural rulers of the third house, so that could really be where your energy is focused right now. And then this could just also represent taking some time alone, in solitude, to really think things over, especially with the Hermit at the bottom of the deck for you guys. So you could just be in a bit more of an introspective mood, and really just going over what would make you happy and pursuing that. Alright, in the challenger obstacle position, we have the Eight of Wands. So this could just represent that there's a lot going on in your mind right now, and maybe that's why you're taking some time away to, just kind of keep to yourself for a bit. This could also just point to the fact that we're going to have Mercury in retrograde this month. And then if that's the case as well, actually what I just thought of is the fact that when it goes retrograde, it's basically going to square Uranus. And Uranus is actually the ruler of Aquarius, and that's going to be in your 12th house. So, that could be some tricky energy there, and also what's really making you go inward, when that aspect hits. You might really be looking, just in a very solitary mood you could be in, put it that way, for lack of a better way of saying it. So, and then, this could just represent confusing, like my words right now, confusing communication as well with the Mercury retrograde, and, that could be why you decide to step aside as well. In the foundation position, we have the Three of Wands, the Eight of Cups, and the Ten of Pentacles. So pretty random mixture of cards here, but what this could represent, with that Three of Wands energy, that's usually referred to as the waiting for your ships to come in energy. It's a mixture of cardinal and fixed energy. So maybe you've initiated something recently, and now you're waiting for, waiting to see the results of that. And then with the Eight of Cups, you could also be on the fence too, wondering, should you abandon the idea altogether, right? Because maybe it might be taking too long for you to see the results of the efforts you've been putting in. And then with the Ten of Pentacles, that could just represent what it's pertaining to. This could be regarding finances. But And really it could just be, maybe you're coming to a realization, especially with all of this introspective energy we see there. Maybe you're coming to a realization that, okay, is it a smart idea for me to continue to wait for these ships to come in that, might feel like they never will? Or should I just walk away and search for something more fulfilling that's actually going to get me to that Ten of Pentacles level of stability that I'm seeking? So that could really be what a lot of you guys are looking at. And that wouldn't surprise me. This is actually a Pisces card, and then as we speak, basically Neptune in the sign of Pisces is squaring Jupiter in your opposite sign of Sagittarius. So, 10th house being related to career, that could really have you really reflecting on maybe changing course in some way, shape, or form in that area of your life. All right, in the past position, we have Temperance in reverse. So Temperance is actually the major arcana card for Sagittarius. So, this could just point to the fact that Jupiter is actually going retrograde in that sign, and, it's the natural ruler of Sagittarius as well. So that could just be pointing to what's going on there. That could lead to a rebalancing of karmically anyway, as far as relationships go. So, if there's something that might have went off the rails in the past, maybe this is just saying in the reverse position, that's just pointing to Jupiter going retrograde and trying to fix some things that might have gone off the rail in your relationship sector. And, it doesn't have to just mean romantic relationships. That's where people's minds generally tend to gravitate when they think about the seventh house. But, it could also just represent all kinds of partnerships. Usually there's some legal, you know, ties behind it too. So, you could say your job, for example, even having a lease with someone for an apartment or a car, all different types of things. And that's why you see with Libra's major arcana card, the Justice card. So, something that might have some kind of legal contractual bind to it. Maybe there's been some revisiting of that area. But also in the more mundane level, with this coming up in the in the reverse position, this could just be pointing to you and saying that you've been feeling a bit unbalanced lately. And maybe that's actually what's, caused you to go into that more introspective mood with the hermit energy and then the star, just really, reflecting on what would make you happy and trying to pursue that. All right. In the present position, we have the Two of Swords. This card's been coming up for a lot of signs this month, actually. The Empress and the Eight of Pentacles. So actually, I'm starting to see another repeat of the dynamic I was talking about down here. Slightly different, but overall a similar theme. As far as when I look at this, this is that indecisive energy and a bit stagnant, which the Three of Wands in a way can be as well. Although, like I said, it's usually where you've put in the work and now you're just waiting to see the results of that. Maybe because of that feeling of a delay with that could have you trying to think about, okay, well, is it best for me to stay in this Empress energy, right, which is that energy of receptivity and let things come to me? Or should I really just, take things, take the reins basically and start doing my own thing? So again, and like I was saying, it could be tied to career too. This could just be saying, all right, well, should I stay in this career path that I'm on currently? And, maybe you're just waiting on those accolades to come in. Oh, if I keep doing what I'm doing, or surely they're going to see the work I've put in, right? So I should be getting a promotion any day now. But then it never comes. So you might just be deciding to maybe go your own way. With the Eight of Pentacles, I always say that this is an energy of, quite literally, the guy's making his own pentacle. So I view this as a bit of an entrepreneur type energy where you just might decide, you know what, I'm going to go do something where I can make my own money. So that could be what you guys are trying to decide between, do you stay the course where you're at now? And maybe you've even had some success in that path already with the Empress energy. And this is a three energy, as is the Three of Wands, obviously. So, you might even feel that you've had some success, but you might be questioning, okay, is this fulfilling enough, right? With that Eight of Cups energy, you might be like, all right, well, financially, this is fine and everything. And maybe that's what that Ten of Pentacles is pointing to as well, saying you have the financial success, but on a more emotional level, are you satisfied with what you're getting? So that could be what you're trying to look at right now. In the near future position, we have the Lover's card. So this is actually the major arcana card for your sign. So the good thing is it looks like, whatever thought process you might be going in and the introspection that you seem to be going through, it looks like as the month goes along, you will be feeling more like yourselves, reconnecting with your true energy. And, that could be a result of the fact that Mars will be moving into your third house, which, like I said, you guys are the natural rulers of the third house. So having Mars moving into that house for you could really reinvigorate you if you really have been in a more introspective mode lately, just trying to look things over and reevaluate, reassess, so on and so forth. So it could be what this is pointing to. Of course, this could also be pointing to the start of a new love relationship, and definitely some progression as far as making a decision, as far as, that two of swords energy, rather, that we see there. So looks like you could be feeling a bit more decisive as the month goes along. In the position of your influence in the situation, now we have a bit of a red flag here. We have the Five of Swords. So this is one of those cards that points to those type of petty ego conflicts. And what I always say with this card is, going into it that nothing positive is going to come from the confrontation, but you still do it anyway, right? That's primarily where the ego part of it comes in. Um, just be mindful of this energy, and be careful if you don't want to burn bridges, then keep this in mind that this is at play this month. And I could clearly see that playing out astrologically too, because like I said, your ruler is going to be in your third house for a bit early in July, and then it's actually going to turn retrograde. And when it does so, it's actually going to be squaring Uranus. So, and Uranus is in your 12th house, which could be the house of self sabotage, and just a blind spot for you. So be mindful of that fact that that energy especially could really bring that out of you, to where you might say some things that you don't mean, or just really come across a bit brash, and especially with Mars in your third house too. It can play out positively to have Mars in your third house, but on a more negative side, it can also make you come across a bit more aggressive with your communications, whether you intend to or not. So something to keep in mind there. All right, in the position of the environment's influence on a situation, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So, this is another Virgo energy. So the Hermit card at the bottom of the deck is Virgo energy. Like we were saying, the Eight of Pentacles there, that's actually a Virgo card as well. The Ten of Pentacles, and now we have the Nine of Pentacles. So a lot of Virgo energy at play. And to me, Virgo is the other sign ruled by Mercury, like you guys, and Virgo is your fourth house. So again, to me, that points to you just really trying to stay close to home base, really keeping to yourself. I just see more of that energy coming out here. And for some of you, it's a possibility some of you could be dealing with a Virgo as well. But yeah, to me, I'm seeing this primarily as the energy that you're in right now. Just a bit introspective, really analyzing things more than usual, which is probably a good idea anyway with Mercury going retrograde. It is a time to review things, reflect, and, try to, think about your next moves, but not necessarily put them into place just yet. In the hopes or fears position, you guys got a lot of cards, so this should be interesting. Obviously, you see the one at the top. We have the Three of Swords. We have the Four of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and the Page of Swords. So, since we were mentioning a career theme earlier, here's one way that I could actually see this playing out now that I was flipping through them. You could fear, heartbreak. Now, again, like this is another card where people immediately draw their minds to romantic relationships because of the heart primarily, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be any type of connection. Could be fear and heartbreak regarding, maybe this is just the energy you feel you're in, where you might feel financially strapped, right? And maybe you want to ask for a pay increase at your job, let's say, right? So that's, what you want to do, but you could just be fearful to actually speak about that. Because the Page of Swords energy is that one foot in, one foot out energy. I always say, well, all of the pages are basically, but, if you look at this stance, he doesn't look very comfortable or confident with that stance, right? And then holding the sword doesn't look like the best way to hold the sword. So to me, this is like that newness, be stepping out of your comfort zone. If you think about it, this comes before the Knight, Queen, and King energy. So it's basically like a brand new concept to this person. They're still young at that stage. And then, I always do point out to people, ever since I did a personal reading, I noticed this, but those trees remind me of the Facebook F2. So some of you, this could just be pointing to communicating via social media. But the first thing that jumped out to me was regarding finances, because like I said, it seems like you're at a bit of a crossroads where you're like, okay, should I stay the course here where I'm at, or should I really pursue my own thing? So, that could be what's at play there. Now, on another sense, this could also just saying that, you're fearful of getting your heart broken, right? So maybe that's causing you to close off emotionally. And then, that King of Pentacles energy can point to that sometimes too, being a bit stubborn and closed off somewhat and fearful again of communicating. So that could be what's at play there. Either way, looks like some high anxiety situations. So, like I said, there's a lot going on this month. Not to mention, actually, at the time I'm recording this, I'm basically recording this as we have that Sagittarius full moon going on, so that's a whole other story. And then your ruler Mercury, before it does get into Leo and then makes that square aspect with Uranus, it's going to oppose Saturn, it's going to, oppose Pluto, so there's some crazy aspects going on with your ruler, which could definitely bring some of this energy about, now I think about it. So, coming into July, it wouldn't surprise me if you guys just feel a bit rattled and withdrawn. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Eight of Swords. So this is actually a Gemini energy, the first 10 degrees of Gemini. So if that's where your Gemini placement is, then you might be able to relate to this energy more than most. But yeah, this is an energy of just feeling stuck, like you can't move forward, really trapped in your thoughts. You could have a lot of things going through your mind, and like I said, with the Hermit energy, I could certainly see that. The Eight of Wands in the challenge position, yeah, you could just have a lot of things going through your mind. You could feel like you're at a bit of a crossroads. The good thing is, like I mentioned, that square aspect between Jupiter and Neptune in your 7th and 10th house, which are pretty significant houses. Um, at the time I'm recording this, it's not retrograde yet, but Neptune will be going retrograde soon. And the good thing is that with that energy, sometimes the fog could actually lift. So, if you guys are feeling a bit confused in those areas of life, once that's retrograde, it might take a while for that to kick in, but after a little while, you might feel like you could see things a little clearly. Unfortunately for you, your ruler will be retrograde at that same time, though. So, just might take a while to really work out the kinks of your thought processes there. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. The first one you got is Go the Distance, and there's the artwork for it, and the number is 47. All right, essential meaning says endurance, strength, the long haul. The oracle's message: to bring your dream to life, you must think long term and pay no attention to the fluctuations in the current of your experience. Joy and disappointment commingle with opportunities, so there is no need to fear the occasional obstacle. Life is not a sprint. This card is a reminder that you have endurance, strength, and fortitude to carry you all the way. Remain true to yourself. Your authenticity alone will keep you in alignment with the energy of miracles. What is yours will never be withheld from you. Remember that. So maybe that's what it is too. Maybe that energy that I talked about with the Jupiter and Neptune square, that could just have you guys feeling a bit antsy and maybe feeling like, maybe things aren't moving at the speed you would like them to. So maybe that's what's going on. You have that Three of Wands energy, but now you might feel a little fidgety, right? With that Eight of Cups energy, we saw there as well. And then the Empress and the Eight of Pentacles, you might be like, all right, well, what do I need to do here? You might feel like you need to move forward, and, you might just need to try to take a little time to think things over, especially with the energies, like I mentioned, the retrograde coming. We have eclipses coming in July, so there's going to be a lot going on. And the eclipse early on in July is actually going to be a new moon in your second house too. So you might see some new financial startups in that area. All right, the relationship message says you either are in or are calling in a harmonious relationship that can stand the test of time. For better or worse, as you ride the ups and downs and even strain, break yourself, and are remade in new growth, you are being redeemed by the power of regeneration. Harmony does not mean there will never be a wrong note played, but that the relationship is marked by endurance and dedication to overall unity. A new song can be written, an instrument can be tuned, and the symphony of love will play on. Listen with your heart. Isn't it magnificent? So, I mean, that could definitely just point to what we were saying earlier with the lovers in the near future position, that maybe there would be some new connection coming into play for you guys. Like I said, you wouldn't necessarily want to start a new relationship with Mercury in retrograde, but with Jupiter in retrograde, we were talking about that with the Temperance in reverse as well. Saying that sometimes there can be balance restored to that house while the karmic planets tend to go retrograde. On a karmic level, things can be rebalanced as opposed to something that we need to necessarily directly do. It's more like the universe might bring some rebalance to those areas of your life when those planets turn retrograde. Versus when Mercury is in retrograde, it's more about what we need to do, right? So, that's the difference, in my opinion, between the inner planets going retrograde and the outer planets going retrograde. But yeah, the prosperity message says your most precious dreams are not about instant gratification, but enduring prosperity. This is a time to think long term and engage in continued action. You will experience momentum building as you translate the ebb and flow into slow and steady movement forward. Your efforts, ideas, and hard work now can lead to greater riches than you can imagine. Stoke the fire so that an uninterrupted stream of energy is available to support you in all the phases of manifestation. Be assured that you are in the right place right now. So, another energy there pointing to, maybe at least, like I said, with all the energies that play with retrogrades, eclipses, all that stuff, try to stay the course for now if you can. Definitely looks like you're pretty deep in thought about maybe making some kind of moves. So, try to see if you could just wait it out and see how things play out in July. So, if you are thinking about moving on, rather, don't scrap the idea altogether, but maybe see, if you could give things a little more time to pan out. All right. The next card we have here is actually Flamingo Spirit, and it says, Embrace the in between. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 26, and this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle. All right, we'll take a look at that message. Okay, it says, balance comes easily to Flamingo Spirit, who sees what was and what will be, and stands strong in the face of uncertainty. You can be informed by what came before and plan for a future yet to be, but do not resist Flamingo Spirit's call to be fully present in the now, where the real magic happens. With one foot in the life you are moving away from and one in the future as you become the one who leads the life of your highest intentions, you must make peace with the fact that you are not fully in either place. Embrace the in-between. The presence of Flamingo Spirit is also a sign that your creativity is arising within you and opportunities are beginning to present themselves. Remain here in a balanced state of mind, for there is much to know and learn before going forward with new plans. You can trust this moment and yourself as you take in what you see and become aware of all that you are experiencing in this in-between time. So that was actually a pretty interesting message there too, because maybe that's what all this is that we were talking about too, that bit of duality, especially if we look at that Two of Swords in the present. Could just be saying that you're in that in-between phase, and that's, maybe causing a bit of difficulty as far as you might feel a bit confused, right? Maybe unbalanced and whatnot, but it looks like it's saying that this is actually the way things should play out, and there's actually no need to panic right now, so that's pretty cool. All right, the last thing we have is a mudra card. So for those of you who haven't been watching my videos, I pull a mudra card for each of the signs every month, and what a mudra is basically is it's a hand gesture, and their purpose is to help clear up blockages. Usually it's more of a mental, emotional type blockage, but it can also even be physical blockages sometimes. And this is your mudra for the month, and it's the Karana mudra. And the keyword for it is purification. So I'll just turn the card over so you can see some additional info on it. Okay, and as you can see, we can't fit everything in the shot there, so I will move it up after a bit, but I'll just keep it like this for a second if you guys want to pause it or take a screenshot so you can read what it has to say. Alright, now moving up to show you guys the rest. But yeah, under benefits it says cleansing and purifying, benefits the bladder, colon, and large intestine, detoxifies body and mind, assists with the release of negative patterns and habits. So that part might be helpful, like I said, because especially the only cautionary thing I really see is that Five of Swords. But, and like I said, there's certainly some energies at play that might point to you might possibly having some kind of an outburst as far as communications go, with Mars in your third house and then that square aspect between Mercury and Uranus. So something to keep in mind there. That sounds like something you think you could benefit from. I will have the name of that mudra in the description if you wanted to look into it some more. We'll wrap up there, guys, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.